What's going on, guys? It's Coach Mac back here once again, not only helping you with basketball, but helping you with life. So if you're like me, you've been watching the NBA playoffs, and today I want to talk about a young man who is still in the NBA playoffs, but he was voted as the most overrated player by his NBA peers, and that is none other than Tyrese Haliburton from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Now, Tyrese now plays for the Indiana Pacers, but I want to talk about, is he really overrated? I'm going to give my viewpoint at the end of this, but before that, let's get into some accolades. So as I mentioned, Tyrese Haliburton is from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where he would go to North Oshkosh High School, and maybe that's why they think that he's the most overrated player, because how can someone from Oshkosh, Wisconsin be one of the best players in the league right now? But that's besides the point. So coming out of high school, he was a 3-star recruit, but if you talk to him, he was actually a 0-star recruit. It wasn't until he was in college where he was in the middle of the game and they said he was a 3-star recruit. And he was like, hold on, when I was in high school, I ain't have no stars. But it wasn't until his senior season where the Iowa State Cyclones would pick him up. And he would defy the odds, and as a freshman, he would set the program's single-season assist record. Well, this was only the beginning for Tyrese. He would then go on to the 2020 NBA draft, where he was drafted number 12 by none other than the Sacramento Kings. Well, just 2 years later, in a trade package, he was traded to the Indiana Pacers for Domantas Sabonis. Well, as over the past few years, Tyrese Haliburton has put his stamp as one of the best, not only point guards in the league, but as one of the best players. So listen to what he's done in the last 3 seasons. In the last 3 seasons, he has averaged 19.8 points and 9.63 assists, which means that he's almost been averaging a double-double. This year, their record was 50-32, and they are the 4th seed in the East. Last year, their record was 47-35, where they were 6th in the East. And the season before that, they were 35-47, and they were 11th in the East. So you can see the progress over the past 3 seasons with Tyrese Haliburton as the head. Last year, they were swept in the Eastern Conference Finals by none other than your last season NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. And this year, they have made it once again to the Eastern Conference Finals. So with all of that being said, all of those accolades, all of the progress that the Indiana Pacers have made over the last 3 years, is Tyrese Haliburton really overrated? And I'm going to say emphatically, no, he is not overrated. The work speaks for itself. And it's been years since the Indiana Pacers have been in the playoffs. Last time, I believe, in the Eastern Conference Finals, was when Paul George was at the head and they could not get past LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But in saying all of this, I believe that there are some key lessons that we can learn from Tyrese Haliburton. And one of my favorite things about Tyrese Haliburton is he just seems to be so nonchalant, so carefree, but he always has a good attitude. And there, you better believe he has some dog inside of him. So let's talk about lessons that we can learn from Tyrese Haliburton that will help us in sports, but in life as always. So number 1 is stay true to who you are. Don't get out of character. And this is so easy to do with social media, especially. So when Tyrese was named the most overrated player in the league, we didn't see him go to Twitter and go on a tantrum about why he's not the most overrated player. Nah, Tyrese stayed true to himself. He continued to get better, and he's now continuing to lead his team in these playoffs. So stay true to who you are, and don't let social media get to you and making you try to be someone you're not. Number 2, don't let the doubters get to you, causing you to doubt yourself. And this is very important. If you don't believe in yourself, chances are no one else will, unless you have that special coach, teacher who sees something in you that you just don't see in yourself. But this is the problem that we have a lot of times when people say things about us that are not true. And I want to talk about this in story form of a girl I used to coach in softball. So she was not one of my best players. Actually, I would say she was talent-wise. She was actually my worst player. But she just didn't have energy. She just would not even try. And one day I got to her and I pulled her aside. Pulled her aside and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And she told me that the other kids were laughing at her. They would make fun of her. And I said, "Listen," and I looked her dead in her eyes and I said, "Don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality." Now, I got this from a Medea movie, but I just thought it was some of the best advice that you can give to someone, especially when other people are saying things about them that are not true. So I want to encourage you, don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality. And then number 3, put your head down and continue to work and let the results speak for themselves. This is what we're seeing from Tyrese Haliburton. Most of those people who are talking about him are not in the playoffs. So you can call me overrated, and I would still rather be in those playoffs than not calling me overrated and being out of the playoffs. But we see Tyrese, all he did is he put his head down, worked, and he's winning. The results and the facts will speak louder than someone else's opinion will. My dad always says, when you're arguing with someone, don't argue with emotion. You cannot argue facts. So I want to encourage you, don't argue emotion. Put your head down, work. You cannot argue facts. So let's repeat that. Number 1, stay true to who you are and don't get out of character. Number 2, don't let the doubters cause you to get to you, causing you to doubt yourself. Number 3, put your head down and continue to work. Let the results speak for themselves. So I hope y'all tune in tonight as Tyrese plays the New York Knicks. I'm not sure who I got. I just want a good series, but remember those things, especially when people are speaking negatively about you. And as always, I hope this helps.